There's a story about our origins that has been deliberately erased from history books, a narrative so profound and revolutionary that it challenges everything we've learned in schools and universities. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, accessed the Akashic Records that reveal surprising truths about who we truly are and where we came from. Prepare to question absolutely everything you thought you knew about humanity, because these 5 truths will shake the foundations of your understanding of our existence on this planet. First truth: humanity did not start on Earth. According to Edgar Cayce's readings, human history did not begin a mere 200,000 years ago in Africa, as conventional science claims. Our journey began millions of years ago, in higher spiritual dimensions. We were beings of pure consciousness, luminous entities that existed on planes beyond physical matter. Cayce revealed that these spiritual souls observed the Earth in formation, fascinated by the density and sensory experiences this planet offered. The desire to experience materiality was irresistible. These spiritual entities began projecting their consciousness into the physical forms existing on primitive Earth. It wasn't a fall in the traditional biblical sense, but a conscious choice to explore creation through sensory experience. Imagine beings of pure light deciding to inhabit dense bodies to experience touch, taste, sound, and all the sensations that matter could offer. The first manifestations were not like the human bodies we know today. Cayce described androgynous, partially etheric forms that could modify their appearance at will. These entities possessed abilities we would consider supernatural: telepathy, telekinesis, materialization, and dematerialization. They were not bound by physical laws as we are now, as they maintained a direct connection with their original spiritual nature. The problem arose when these souls began to over-identify with material experience. The more attention and energy they invested in the physical form, the denser it became. The connection to the spiritual source began to weaken. It was like diving deeper and deeper into an ocean and forgetting that you can swim back to the surface. Matter began to imprison what was once free. Over time, these projections became permanent. What began as an experimental visit became imprisonment. Souls were literally trapped in their physical bodies, completely forgetting their spiritual origins. Thus, the cycle of reincarnation was born, not as divine punishment, but as a natural consequence of conscious choices. Humanity would need countless lifetimes to remember its true nature and return to its original state of expanded consciousness. Can you imagine being a being of pure light? How about liking this information if it's expanding your consciousness and sharing it with someone who needs to awaken to these truths? Second truth: there were 5 root races on 5 simultaneous continents. The traditional narrative tells us that humanity evolved linearly from a single point in Africa. Cayce completely contradicts this version. He revealed that approximately 10,600,000 years ago, 5 root races manifested simultaneously in 5 distinct regions of the planet. This was not a gradual evolution, but a coordinated and intentional emergence. The first race manifested on a continent Cayce called Lemuria, or Mu, located in what is now the Pacific Ocean. These beings were gigantic, up to 3.5 meters tall, and maintained a strong telepathic connection with each other. Their civilization was based on harmony with nature and the development of psychic abilities. They worked directly with crystals and Earth's energies in ways we cannot fully comprehend today. The second race arose in Atlantis, in the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlanteans were technologically advanced in ways that make our current technology seem primitive. They mastered the energy of crystals to create systems for propulsion, healing, and instant communication. They built cities with impossible architecture, using sonic levitation and gravity manipulation. Their downfall came precisely from the misuse of these technologies when ego overcame wisdom. The third race settled on the continent we know as Africa. This race had a deep connection with the animal and plant kingdoms, understanding the language of all living creatures. They developed natural medicine and shamanism in extremely sophisticated forms. They were the guardians of knowledge about the physical earth and its cycles, sacred plants, and healing rituals that reconnected the spirit to the body. The fourth race manifested itself in the region that now corresponds to Asia. These beings focused on developing inner consciousness through meditation and spiritual disciplines. They created the foundations of what would later become yoga, Buddhism, and Taoism. They were masters of mind over matter, able to control bodily processes that modern science considers involuntary. Their practices aimed to transcend the illusion of separation and reconnect with original unity. The fifth race developed in what roughly corresponds to the Americas. These peoples were experts in astronomy and sacred mathematics. They understood cosmic cycles and how they influenced human consciousness. They built observatories and temples aligned with impressive astronomical precision. Their calendars not only measured time, but also mapped the waves of consciousness that traverse the galaxy and affect our spiritual evolution. These 5 races were not separated by competition, but by specialization. Each developed a different aspect of the human experience. The original plan was for them to eventually unify, bringing their different wisdoms to create a complete and balanced humanity. The interbreeding that occurred over millions of years was part of this integration process. Third truth: Atlantis existed and its technology was superior to ours. Atlantis is neither myth nor fantasy, but a historical fact carefully erased from official records. Cayce provided extraordinary details about this civilization, which lasted approximately 200,000 years before its final destruction in 10,500 years BC. Atlantis experienced 3 great cataclysms, the last of which completely sank it, generating the flood mentioned in virtually every ancient tradition in the world. Atlantean technology was based on principles completely different from ours. They didn't burn fossil fuels or use electricity as we know it. Their primary power source was what Cayce called the Firestone, or Tuaoi crystal, a gigantic crystal that captured, amplified, and distributed cosmic and solar energy. This crystal was housed in a special building called the Temple of Poseidon, where specially trained priests operated it. With this crystalline technology, the Atlanteans developed planes and submarines powered by magnetic levitation. They didn't use engines in the conventional sense, but rather energy fields that nullified gravity. They traveled not only around Earth, but also to other planets in the solar system. They had stations on Mars and the Moon, establishing what we would now call extraplanetary colonies. The propulsion technology they used is similar to what modern researchers are trying to develop with electromagnetic propulsion. Atlantean medicine was equally advanced. They used specific crystals for different types of healing, emitting frequencies that restored the body's energetic balance. They performed surgeries with concentrated light beams, similar to modern lasers but much more precise. They understood that all disease begins in the energetic field before manifesting in the physical body, so they treated the spiritual and emotional causes before the material symptoms. Instantaneous communication over long distances was commonplace. Crystalline devices functioned as telepathic transmitters and receivers, amplifying the mind's natural capabilities. They didn't require satellites or cables. Information traveled through morphogenetic fields that connected all crystals tuned to the same frequency. It was an organic internet, based on consciousness and resonance. The decline of Atlantis began when this technology was used for selfish purposes and domination. Factions emerged between those who respected spiritual laws, called the Children of the Law of One, and those who sought material power, the Sons of Belial. The latter began using the crystals for unethical genetic manipulation, creating human-animal hybrids to serve as slaves. They also used the technology as a weapon, creating destructive energy beams. The misuse of the Great Crystal caused instability in the tectonic plates. The Earth responded with increasingly intense earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Cayce revealed that the continent sank in 3 main stages. First, around 50,000 years before Christ, then 28,000 years before Christ, and finally, the total collapse in 10,500 years before Christ. The survivors migrated to Egypt, Central and South America, Europe, and other regions, bringing fragments of Atlantean knowledge. Fourth truth: the Akashic Records contain the entire real history of humanity. Edgar Cayce didn't invent the information he transmitted. He accessed what he called the Akashic Records, a cosmic library where every thought, emotion, word, and action of every being who has ever existed is permanently recorded. Akasha is a Sanskrit word meaning ether or sky, referring to a primordial substance that permeates the entire universe and records everything that happens in it. Imagine an infinite quantum computer where nothing is ever deleted. Every life you've ever lived, every choice you've ever made, every relationship you've ever had is archived in these records. Not just your experiences, but those of all the billions of beings who have inhabited this planet throughout its history. It's the living memory of the universe, accessible to those who develop the ability to tune into this informational frequency. Cayce would enter a self-induced trance, and his consciousness would shift to this plane where the records exist. He described seeing what seemed to be a gigantic book opening before him, or sometimes a screen where past events played out like films. He could access not only the history of specific individuals, but also of entire civilizations, planetary events, and even records from other worlds and dimensions. The accuracy of these readings was astonishing. Cayce provided thousands of medical readings for people he had never met, diagnosing illnesses and prescribing treatments that proved correct when verified by doctors. He located oil wells and mineral deposits. He predicted future events, many of which came to fruition decades after his death in 1945. All of this came from the Akashic Records. These records aren't in a physical location you can visit with a spaceship. They exist in a dimension beyond three-dimensional spacetime. They permeate the entire universe simultaneously, like a cosmic neural network. Every atom, every quantum particle, is connected to this informational field. Modern quantum physics is beginning to confirm the existence of non-local information fields that bear a striking resemblance to the concept of the Akashic Records. Before we continue, if you're enjoying our content and can support our work and be part of our exclusive community, become a channel member. Besides helping us continue bringing you incredible content, you'll have access to special benefits. Click the button, become a member and join us. According to Cayce, anyone can learn to access these records through spiritual development, deep meditation, purification of mind and body, development of intuition, and raising of vibrational frequency are paths to this connection. Many people already do this unconsciously through sudden insights, déjà vu, premonitory dreams, and knowledge that seems to come from nowhere. These are momentary flashes of connection with the akasha. The importance of this is monumental. It means that the entire true history of humanity is available, not lost or forgotten. The truths about Atlantis, Lemuria, humanity's spiritual origins, lost technologies, ancient wisdom, all remain accessible. We are no longer dependent on the limited fragments found in archaeological digs. We can, in theory, know the complete and true story of who we are and where we came from. Fifth, truth. Humanity is in the process of returning to original consciousness. The human journey is neither random nor purposeless. According to Cayce, there is a divine plan in which each soul will eventually return to full awareness of its spiritual nature. Imprisonment in matter was a necessary learning phase, but it is not the final destination. We are in a cyclical process of descent into matter and subsequent ascension back to spirit, taking with us the wisdom acquired through physical experiences. Earth functions as an evolutionary school. Each incarnation offers specific lessons we must learn. Challenging relationships teach unconditional love. Suffering develops compassion. Obstacles strengthen determination. Losses teach us detachment. Every experience, no matter how difficult it may seem, is perfectly designed for our spiritual growth. There are no victims or accidents, only opportunities for evolution. Cayce revealed that we are now in a crucial period of planetary transition. Humanity is collectively awakening from spiritual amnesia. More and more people are beginning to question the materialistic narrative and seek deeper meaning. Experiences of spiritual awakening, once rare, are becoming commonplace. It's as if a cosmic alarm is ringing, calling souls to remember who they truly are. This transition is neither smooth nor easy. The old paradigm based on separation, competition, materialism, and control is collapsing. Political, economic, religious, and educational systems that served the old consciousness are in crisis. It's painful to watch structures that seemed solid disintegrate, but it's necessary. The new cannot be born while the old occupies all the space. We are in the labor of a new human consciousness. Children being born now carry different genetic and spiritual codes than previous generations. Cayce predicted this, saying that more evolved souls would incarnate in greater numbers as we approached the age of transformation. These children are naturally telepathic, intuitive, and connected to dimensions beyond the physical. They don't fit into the old mold because they didn't come to perpetuate the old system, but to help establish the new. Returning to original consciousness does not mean abandoning the physical body or the earth. It means inhabiting the body consciously, without identification. It means using matter as a vehicle for creative expression, not as a prison. It means remembering that we are immortal spirits having a temporary human experience, not humans desperately trying to achieve some spirituality. The difference in perspective is radical. Cayce emphasized that we don't need to wait for physical death for this reconnection. Through spiritual practices, meditation, service to others, study of universal laws, and especially through unconditional love, we can begin to remember now. Every moment of genuine compassion, every act of selfless kindness, every time we choose forgiveness over revenge, we are activating dormant spiritual memories in our DNA. If this message touches your heart and inspires new insights into your life, know that every video we create here is made with great care and dedication. Our purpose is to spread spiritual knowledge, help more people awaken to their true essence, and strengthen this community of truth seekers. If this content made a difference to you, imagine how many souls can be enlightened with this same message. Here on YouTube, there is a simple and special way to support us. Through the button, "Thanks a lot." This is a way to show that this content has had a real impact on your life, and to help us continue producing quality materials, bringing knowledge and inspiration to those who need it most. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a gesture of gratitude and love, and makes all the difference so we can move forward with this mission. But, regardless of anything, the most important thing is your presence here. Your engagement, comments, and support are the energy that keeps this community alive and growing. If you can contribute, we'll receive it with open hearts and immense gratitude. If you can't, your positive vibes and participation are already a great gift. Together, we are spreading more light, more love, and more knowledge to the world. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. May your journey be filled with evolution, learning, and connection with the divine. The ultimate goal is to achieve what Cayce called Christ consciousness, not in the limited religious sense, but as a state of full union with the divine while still incarnate. It is possible to live simultaneously in multiple dimensions, operating masterfully in the physical world while remaining aware of our infinite spiritual nature. This is not the privilege of saints or avatars, but the evolutionary destiny of all humanity. Do these revelations resonate with something deep within you? Do you feel like you've always known these truths on some level? Like this video, so more people can access this knowledge and share it with anyone ready to awaken. The journey through these 5 forgotten truths is just the beginning of a much greater awakening that is occurring globally. Edgar Cayce left us a precious legacy, the confirmation that we are much more than we appear to be, that our history is infinitely greater than we have been taught, and that our future is bright beyond imagination. Knowledge is available to those who have the courage to question the official narratives and seek deeper truths in the eternal records of universal consciousness. Each of us carries within us fragments of these ancient memories, recurring dreams of places we've never physically visited, the sense of familiarity with knowledge we've never formally studied, the intuition that guides us beyond logic. All these are echoes of our true multidimensional history. By recovering these memories and applying their lessons to our current lives, we contribute to humanity's collective ascension back to the original state of full consciousness and unconditional love that has always been our birthright, as sparks of the divine manifested in material form.